A very good evening. You're watching India Today go live on social media. I'm Nabila Jamal. As always, I bring you the roundup of today's news. I'm going to start with the all-important news that's made headlines actually since last morning. 21-year-old climate activist Disha Ravi has been arrested for editing a toolkit that Greta Thunberg put up in connection with the farmers' protest. As you all know, Greta Thunberg is currently under probe over this toolkit that spoke about how to garner attention and put pressure on the Indian government over farm laws. Basically, how to ensure that the spotlight is on the farmers' protest, and termed this human rights violation, that farmers have been protesting and the government is ignored, and that the farmers want, they demand for the laws to be quashed while the government ignores, and they're allowing for this farmers protest to continue without actually intervening, which is, according to these activists, a human rights violation. And therefore a toolkit was put out, word by word, directing people on how they can also be involved in this campaign. That's what the toolkit is all about. If you want to know what the toolkit is, that the police is currently probing, that toolkit speaks about step-by-step process on how to gain attention on the farmers' protest, how to shed some light on the farmers' protest, how you can help, how you can be part of the campaign, how you can get international attention, how you can get authorities to respond. It's a stage-by-stage toolkit. In fact, even that toolkit also has facts on the agricultural sector of India about why the farmers are protesting. So it's more or less everything that's already on public domain. There's nothing that is written in that is not what people already know. So it's almost a consolidated direction map on how you can carry out a social media campaign in support of the farmers. So this is in support of the farmers, of course, urging the government to act and quash the laws as per the farmers' demands. Now, this is the toolkit that Greta Thunberg had put up. There was a lot of suspicion that there was an insider's hand, someone from India who has helped Greta design this toolkit. And that's why the Delhi police had registered a complaint, had filed a case against not Greta Thunberg, but the toolkit. And they were trying to investigate as to who helped her, who was behind it. And eventually they came down, they zeroed in on one girl sitting in Bengaluru, Disha Ravi, 21-year-old climate activist. Fridays for Future is her campaign, where she was also one of the founding members, which Greta Thunberg is currently driving that campaign. So basically, Greta Thunberg is a climate activist, Disha Ravi is a climate activist. So somehow they've had some social media connections and contacts, and they have managed to club together to put up this toolkit. Disha Ravi has now been arrested, with the Delhi police claiming that she could have Khalistani links, that she has she's in fact indulged in anti-national activities, and she has been slapped with sedition charges. So these are heinous, serious allegations, and right now Disha Ravi is under 5-day police custody. And apart from Disha Ravi, there's also this girl called Nikita Jacob. Nikita Jacob is currently, according to the police, absconding. Nikita hails from Mumbai, and while the police say that she is absconding, the lawyer of Nikita says that she is very much available. She's not absconding. In fact, the police had told that Nikita was absconding from the 11th of Jan, whereas the lawyer claims that the police made her sign the Panchnama and even took her statement on the 10th of February. That's 5 days ago. So she hasn't gone absconding. She's very much willing to be part of this investigation. But they have reached out to the High Court, Bombay High Court, to seek protection from police action. So the Bombay High Court is going to be hearing this matter tomorrow. So therefore, Nikita is the other one. Shantanu, this is the other activist, and these are all young activists, let me tell you, all in the age group of 21, between 21 and 25. Disha Ravi, who's arrested, is 21 years old. We're yet to ascertain the age of Nikita and Shantanu, but should be around the same age. It appears that they're a group who came up enthusiastically, wanted to speak for the farmers, wanted to speak for their rights and whatnot, and came up with this toolkit, a design. Now remember, toolkit is used extensively in any kind of campaign. Like for example, if a BJP or a Congress or an AAP or any party wants to hold a campaign rally or a strategy on how you can, say, a registration drive, they usually have a toolkit on what are the processes, stage by stage, step by step, how you would go forward and carry out that registration drive. So this is also on the lines of step by step instruction on how you will get attention to the farmers' protest and how you would ensure that the world will speak about it creating pressure. Now the government calls this propaganda. They say this is anti-India propaganda. Coming out with a toolkit like this when you have no idea what exactly farmers reform is all about is basically international propaganda to defame India, and this is what is sedition. This is what they claim as sedition here. Now Disha, like I said, is under arrest. Nikita is, according to the police, absconding. Shantanu, also the third person here, he's also absconding. According to the police, there's no word of him. So Nikita's phones, on all her gadgets, her family's gadgets have all been seized already. Now it seems like the police is probing into their role. Exactly what was the modus operandi? According to the police, there was a Zoom call, a Zoom meeting that was conducted just a few weeks before the Republic Day violence. In the Zoom meeting, there was this person called Mo Dhaliwal. Mo Dhaliwal is basically a self-proclaimed Khalistani activist. And he was part of this Zoom meet, and he, along with a few others, in fact, this Mo Dhaliwal belongs to this group called Poetic Justice. I hope I don't spell it out wrong. Poetic Justice Foundation, that's what it's called, and this is based in Canada, and they're a Khalistani group according to the police, and they have reached out to the likes of Disha Ravi, to Nikita Jacob and Shantanu and some of them to fan an extensive social media campaign in support of the farmers. Now again, the police claim that because these are Khalistani groups who are trying to urge these ladies or these people who are accused, including a man, they are indulging in anti-national activities. So because there's the Khalistani link here, this whole thing becomes anti-national. Now, a lot of activists across India have condemned Disha's arrest. Quite naturally, even the opposition parties have now condemned the arrest of Disha. In fact, opposition parties, here we're looking at Priyanka Gandhi accusing the government of trying to suppress the voice of dissent, and she says that just a young defenseless woman can actually threaten the Modi government. Imagine a young defenseless woman the Modi government is scared and worried of. And then you have Rahul Gandhi, of course, saying that this is a way to muscle down the voice of India. India will not keep quiet. India will not be silenced. So quite naturally, opposition has been condemning this, but we're looking at student communities, we're looking at activist communities, environmentalists across of India who've been slamming this move, calling this vindictive, saying that this is human rights violation and that all that she did was speak up in favor of the farmers. There was nothing seditious, there was nothing instigating, there was nothing wrong in coming out with that toolkit or editing that toolkit, because that toolkit did not have anything insinuating. And according to these critics, they say that this is, this is a ploy of the government to just send out a message to the activism or the activist community to shut up, in a way, not to raise their voice, not to speak against the government. This is what the allegations that's coming in over Disha's arrest. Now, on the other hand, on the contrary, I myself spoke to the former cops, the police, and they say very clearly that they have details of this network and this nexus. Now, whether Disha and Nikita and the likes have done it intentionally, unintentionally, realize that this is part of a larger propaganda against India or not, but the fact is that they have been involved in it. And now they're going to probe it. So let the court prove their innocence. They have been arrested, and now legal action will be taken as per what they find. Again, details are very hazy and sketchy as to what extent has been their involvement. But the fact is that this toolkit, Greta Thunberg, such a huge climate activist, a celebrity of sorts, put it out on social media, and that gathered global attention, with everybody starting to talk about the farmers' protest, which has clearly embarrassed India. Now, the Indian government calls this international propaganda to defame India, while the activist community says that this is freedom of speech. It's a right of any citizen to speak up and take up for the farming community or anybody who's protesting. Just to come up with a toolkit like that does not mean that she's seditious. Now, this is what has been happening. It's been going on through yesterday and today. A lot of reactions coming in on Disha Ravi's arrest. In fact, we're looking at several international figures who've now stepped in to condemn this move as well. You have Kamala Harris's niece, Meena Harris, who's also put out a tweet condemning Disha Ravi's arrest. You have others, including UK MP Claudia Webb, who's also condemned this. Environmentalist Bill McKibben, he's also condemned this and expressed solidarity with Disha. And to join the bandwagon, you have Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan and his party, who's come out with a very formal tweet condemning the Modi government, saying Modi and RSS in India will ensure that all voice of dissent will be suppressed and muscled, and they're taking up for Disha as well. So we're looking at several international figures who have come in support of Disha, condemning the government over her arrest. Now, of course, this will escalate. We're going to see how this is handled. The government has assured that the police are doing their duty, and it's our duty as an individual to have faith. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to have faith in the judicial system. Let's hope the guilty will be punished, but the innocent should be let go. Here, let me quickly cut across to more stories that have made headlines. Is the disengagement between China and Indian troops along the line of actual control. We're looking at A.K. Anthony, senior Congress leader, again raising questions on India ceding land to China, saying that India has succumbed to Chinese pressure. The BJP government gave in and ceded with Indian territory, while India was supposed to be patrolling until finger 8. Why have India come back to finger 3? In fact, Anthony says that earlier the armed forces used to patrol up to finger 8, while Chinese PLA used to patrol until finger 4. According to Anthony, he says that India has been forced to vacate from the Kailash range. Now, all this, Anthony says, despite there being video evidence of how there has been no land that has been ceded to China. In fact, Chinese troops have also withdrawn, Indian troops have also withdrawn, and this has come after multiple rounds of talks. The Minister of Defense has clearly said, Rajnath Singh, that the sovereignty, integrity of India has not been compromised with. And despite all these assurances, we're looking at the Congress constantly attacking the government over some part of land along the line of actual control, which the Congress believes has been ceded with. They have buckled under pressure. But clearly, it seems like on this front, for sure, the Indian government has put up great defense against China, and India has stood firm, and China has relented finally, and that's the fact of the matter. Let me go over to Fastag, which is now made compulsory. Anywhere across the country, if you're going to pass through a highway where there's a toll, then you've got to have the Fastag. If not, you will have to pay double the price for passing through that toll booth. Now, this is what a rule that's come, which will be effective from midnight tonight. Any vehicle not fitted with a Fastag or without a valid and functional Fastag entering into these lanes will be penalized. Like I said, double the amount of the price will you have to pay, and the fine is also said to be equivalent to 2 times of what is applicable in that category in that state. Now, this is going to be effect from today. This is done, of course, in a bid to ensure that it's congestion free, the traffic moves faster, you save fuel, and it's just transparent. Most of the transaction is done digital, so it's just all a win-win all in all. Now, a quick word on the farmers' protest that's still underway. We're looking at Priyanka Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi now throwing their weight heavily behind the farmers' agitation. Priyanka Gandhi has now landed up in Uttar Pradesh's Bijnor, where she's addressing the Kisan Mahapanchayat in Uttar Pradesh. Remember, the UP government has also, in fact, Yogi himself has received a lot of flack from the farming community, especially the sugarcane farmers who feel that they have been deprived and no funds have reached them, and they're really struggling at this point in time. And that is the kind of dissent that it appears Congress is wanting to cash in on. So the farming community, who's already looking disturbed, the Congress is trying hard to throw their weight behind them. Jai Kisan, Jai Jawan. That's the campaign the Congress has launched in Uttar Pradesh. 27 districts, they're going to be traveling with this campaign and will be protesting across these 27 districts under the Jai Kisan, Jai Jawan campaign. Now, a quick word on West Bengal. Huge political stage has been set up with Prime Minister Narendra Modi going to be arriving in West Bengal on the 22nd of February. You have Amit Shah there on the 18th of February. They're going to be part of this massive campaign where Prime Minister Modi will be launching off one of the metro projects in West Bengal. And you have Amit Shah who will be part of this final leg of BJP's Parivartan Yatra, which will cover the entire length and breadth of the state of West Bengal. It's already flagged off and it's already underway. The final leg will happen on the 18th of Feb, and Amit Shah will be driving that. All 294 constituencies have been covered by the BJP. So they're really whipping up support in West Bengal, and this time it seems like the BJP has quite some chances, considering the last time also it was a tough fight. This time also they'll really put up a tough fight against the TMC. What happens, it remains to be seen. Political analysts say this could be a close match. It could be a really close match. Really remains to be seen how this pans out. Of course, it all comes down to Jai Shri Ram versus Lord Ram versus Lord Durga politics that's happening in West Bengal. While the TMC advocates for Lord Durga, the BJP advocating for Lord Ram, it seems like the attack and counter-attack is very interesting. We're going to see at the end of it who wins. Now, a quick word on international news as I wrap here. We're looking at some huge protests that's happening. You know, there's a coup in Myanmar where the military has taken over. Even though there was elections that was carried out, elected representatives were voted. The military decided or claimed that this was rigged. The entire election process was rigged, and therefore they carried out a coup, detained many of those elected representatives, and now the effects of what's happening in Myanmar has spread across far and wide. Tokyo has seen one of the largest protests. People of Japan there have protested relentlessly, holding up placards and slogans and condemning the coup in Myanmar, asking for some help for the people of Myanmar. They're really standing up for the people of Myanmar. This is one of the largest protests that's been witnessed in Japan in recent history. On a lighter note, we're looking at the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Prince Harry and Meghan, his wife, Meghan Markle, are now expecting their second child. Remember, Prince Harry and his wife, after they got married, they said bye, bid adieu to all their royal responsibilities and royal life, and they went away from the royal family and settled in California in the United States, away from all the royalty, and now they're welcoming their second child. Initially there were some hiccups between them and the royal family, the Queen and whatnot, but now it seems like things are settling down with the Queen, Elizabeth, Prince Charles and other members of the royal family wishing Meghan and Prince Charles a very happy pregnancy and a healthy one. That's it for me. Thank you very much. As I wrap here, I'd like to say the vaccination drive in India is going fabulously well. We're looking at close to 1 crore healthcare workers who've already been vaccinated. A little less than 1 crore, but we're one of the fastest countries with this kind of vaccination drive. In March, those above the age of 50 will begin vaccination. Thank you.